So let's go roughly from the beginning of this pandemic, shall we? I mean, well, it started with the 5 levels. Remember those? Then it was the 3 tiers. I mean, we were all in tears by the end of that one. They had straplines like stay home, protect the NHS, save lives. Then we could go to work or we couldn't.
We said that you should work from home if you can and only go to work if you must. We now need to stress that anyone who can't work from home, for instance, those in construction or manufacturing, should be actively encouraged to go to work, and we want it to be safe for you to get to work. So you should avoid public transport if at all possible, because we must and will maintain social distancing and capacity will therefore be limited.
The strapline then changed to stay alert, control the virus, save lives. Then it was hands, face, space. I mean, I may have missed something in between. And then we had, of course, Dominic Cummings, when he decided to drive to Barnard Castle while supposedly self-isolating to, what was it, test his eyes. There was Scotland's chief medical officer who resigned after making 2 trips to her second home during the coronavirus lockdown, Dr. Catherine Calderwood. I mean, that's her name. She did apologise. Initially, she had planned to continue in her role. I mean, at first, she was backed by First Minister Nicola Sturgeon. My mother didn't agree with that. That woman... I just can't stand that Sturgeon woman. Look at her. She thinks that she's Margaret Thatcher. Let's talk about something else. God forgive me. Let's not forget SNP MP Margaret Ferrier, who had a COVID test, then before getting the result proceeded to get her hair done, go to church and travel to Westminster. When the result eventually arrived and it turned out that she had COVID, she then got back on the train on public transport to travel back to her home in Scotland. The G7, that happened, the thing that they all flew to via private jet to discuss climate change of all things. And, of course, no social distancing and masks weren't worn. Now it's the turn of Matt Hancock, who admitted to breaking the rules after being pictured in some sort of passionate embrace with his aide. I mean, you couldn't make it up. Now, my mother, she's wonderful, but let's face it, we've all broken the rules, haven't we, from time to time? But when you think of the sacrifices that people have made, dads not present at birth, people dying at home, families not allowed to go to funerals, he even suggested we don't hug loved ones unless outside. So whilst you and I are trying our best to follow the extremely complex, confusing and constantly changing rules, he was making his own ones. I mean, where do we find these people? I spoke to my mum about it. I like Matt Hancock. I mean, who will do that job anyway? Let he who is without sin cast their first stone. I get it. I mean, as far as we know, I mean, it was probably towards the end of the pandemic, right? I mean, I'm totally confused about the rules. I'm sure he is. But he has at least admitted to breaking them. He's apologised and Boris accepted. Do you?